Hey guys, I just wanted to hop on and talk to you about the Keto Mojo meter. I was gonna go live a couple days ago, and I decided that I wanted to do a few readings and kind of play around with it a little bit, just so I could see, you know, what exactly is going on with this meter and when you should use it and all that kind of stuff. So I think I really want to start with the setup. I can't see if anybody's here yet or not, but just say hi, let me know you're here. It says I have some people on, but it's not showing me who. So here's what the meter looks like. So this is it here. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. All right. I wish I had a different angle for my camera, but I don't. So the way that this works, when you first get it, mine, the batteries were already in there. So I know in the instructional video, it tells you to go ahead and insert the batteries and let it turn on. And there's this little button in the back. I don't know if you can see right there. Let's see, I have a pencil because they use a pencil too. So right here is this little bitty button, and you can actually just press it with your fingers. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out which way to angle this. There we go. So it's right there. The first thing you want to do is get everything set up. And one thing that gets missed on the video, I know I had to call in, and they're making a new video now about this, is that the first thing you need to do to this when you set it up is you need to set the year. That's the very first thing that flashes. So be really careful and make sure that you get all this information set up on here correctly, especially the year. If you don't get the year set up on this, your test strips aren't going to work. Excuse me. I'm having allergies today. So it does ketones, but it also does your blood glucose. And I don't have blood glucose strips yet because I have a separate glucose meter. I know that with the Keto Mojo, it does more detailed glucose reading than not. Hey, Sierra. I was going to do this video a couple days ago, and I'm kind of behind because I wanted to test the keto meter and see exactly what it does. So you're going to get one of these. This is a little chip reader, and this is why it's important for the date to be right, because I didn't have the date right, and when I inserted this in to register my strips, it didn't register, and I couldn't figure out why. So I called the company, and they were really good about calling me back, even though they weren't open. So that was pretty awesome. So they have someone answering the phone, or at least saying that you called and calling you back, because they probably get a lot of calls. So this is one of the test strips, and this is what you're going to use to register it with. And you need to do this first. So it has a number on there that's very specific to your strips. And on the container of the keto strips, right here, there's the number. Probably can't see that, it's really small. I don't know if the camera will focus that or not, but on the bottle of keto strips, you'll have a number which matches the number on here, which is 780, and that's probably backwards for you guys. So that's the very first thing you're gonna do, because if you don't do that, you're not gonna be able to use the monitor. So you have that. There we go. Sorry, I was getting a phone call. I forgot what I was saying. So you get, if you do the cheapest one, you get 10 strips, but I recommend if you can go ahead and purchase the one that has more strips, go ahead and do that, because when you first get it, if you're like me, you want to test a couple different times and see what's going on, and that's pretty much what I did. So on day one, I did, hey Anthony, I did I do 3 tests the first day? I did 3 tests the first day. And I did 2 yesterday because I really wanted to test today. I did have some veggies that were higher in sugar than not yesterday, so I can tell you about that in a minute. But so you get your little, this is a little lancet here that comes with it. It's pretty standard. Just pop it back, push the button, you know, on your fingertip here. Let's see, I think it's been an hour since I've eaten. Technically, I could do this right now. For the purposes of that I didn't get the glucose strips to go with this monitor, I do have just a standard glucose monitor here that I use. It's basically going to do the same thing the keto meter is going to do, except for the keto meter, if I'm not mistaken, has a couple more readings on it for your blood glucose than the standard meter that I'm using. So I'll probably go ahead and test right now while we're on, and then I'll tell you about my results for the past 2 days. And I've been trying to watch videos. There's not a lot of videos. In the beginning, I did the keto strips, And those work in the beginning for you as far as checking to see if you're in ketosis or not, but you have to be careful with the strips because if it's super dark, that could indicate that you're actually dehydrated. So just be careful with the use of the strips. And if you see really dark color, you could be in ketosis if you're drinking enough water, but if you think about how much water you're drinking and it's not where it needs to be half your body weight. So take your weight, divide that in 2. That's how many ounces of water you need to drink every day. So make sure that you're getting your water in. Let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and stab myself here and we'll test really quick. Get these meters ready. I think my blood sugar's been really good. It was a little higher yesterday, and again, I think that's because I had beets. I worked this event called Urban Roots, and they had a bunch of veggies and stuff that they gave to their supporters, and they had leftovers, and they actually sent me home with some. And I couldn't pass up the opportunity to have fresh local beets from a garden that's run by kids. Actually, they're teenagers, and they're doing internships at this Urban Roots. I think it's called Urban Roots. So they're doing, they do internships there. They are paid internships, but I wanted to try the veggies. It was a once, probably in a lifetime opportunity to try those, and they were given to me, so I went ahead and tried them. All right, so where we're at right now on the keto meter, it's 0.6. The light went out. There we go. Let's see if you can see that. So it's probably backwards, but it's a 0.6. That's a little lower than it needs to be, but it's also early in the morning. And so what I've discovered, 108 for blood glucose. What I've discovered is that that's considered nutritional ketosis. If you want to be in full ketosis, which is like 1.5 to 3, that usually happens later in the day. And from my understanding, because your liver produces the ketones, when you first wake up, you're not going to have as many in the morning. It's more like midday, you'll see a spike. And then later in the evening, you'll see it go back down a little bit. So those were my numbers 1 hour after I ate. So what I could probably do with that is add some more fat in to get that number up. Okay. So I poked my finger and I'm trying to get it to stop bleeding. And that's pretty much, that's your meters. My next video, I'll get the strips for this one because they're a little cheaper than the keto strips to test your ketones. The blood glucose is a little cheaper, so I'd like to see what those other numbers indicate. So on day 1, I did 1 hour after breakfast and I was at a 0.5. So that's kind of low. But waking up first thing in the morning, it's going to be low even after you've eaten. So, and then by lunchtime, I did it 3 hours after lunch, I was up to a 1. So that day I never made it past 1, which means I can take a look at my food, see if I'm still having too many carbs, and maybe try to reduce that down a little bit. I did test my blood glucose because I had some chocolate zero candy. I had one little square and I wanted to see if it affected my blood sugar or not. And I was at 95. It didn't get affected at all. And then I did after dinner as well. And 1 hour after dinner, I was at a 0.8. So my highest was in the middle of the day on that first day with a 1. So this is, I mean, it's definitely giving me some information where I can look at and see, you know, if weight loss is not occurring, that my ketones are super low and it's just going to take me longer to lose weight. And I'm just going to play around with that and see if I can get those increased because the higher you are in ketosis, you're going to lose more weight that way. So, and yesterday, let's see, excuse me, 1 hour after breakfast, I was only at a 0.3. I think that was because yesterday was the day that I had the beets. So I did my next test at 240 and I was still only at a 0.5. So I did not do a third one on that one. I didn't do a third testing because, again, I had the beets. And so I think at that point, I definitely wasn't going to see, I I wasn't going to see anything higher yesterday. So today I'm shooting for something higher. I'm shooting for a higher number, which will be in the 1.5 category is where you need to be, 1.5 to a 3. So that's where we're at with that. Let's see. All right. That's all I've got for you for today. Also, if you're checking your blood sugar, for fasting purposes, you should be anywhere from 70 to 99. So if you're testing first thing in the morning, your blood sugar, 70 to 99, okay? And then if you're doing it 2 hours after a meal, you should be under 140. And so I did pretty well both days. All of my numbers were under 120, I think. I think my highest yesterday was 113, and that was just a few hours after I had the beets. So that was 3 hours after the beets. And I think everything else was like right around 100, so that's pretty good. Yes. So if you have any numbers different than that, you may want to just double check and see what you're eating and just make sure that you're not having any issues with being diabetic at that point. So if your numbers are different, higher than 140 after you've eaten, then maybe you want to get checked to see if you're having some issues with being diabetic. All right, guys, talk to you later.